It's lovely to be here today and to see so many familiar faces, some new faces, and it's always great to catch up with a dear friend and a dear partner, Jayesh.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure to have you here, Jayesh. So as most of you know, Jayesh is the CEO of Wio Bank, which identifies itself as a platform bank. And one of the things we always talk about is there's probably as many definitions for what a platform bank is as there are people in the room, perhaps a couple more even. So maybe you could help us level set a little bit, Jayesh. What is a platform bank? How do you view that?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, we wanted to start a new bank, and we said we need to come up with a theme that is tricky enough, but people just don't quite understand it yet. So it sounds cool. Yeah. No, I'll tell you where the concept of platform bank came up is, if you look at our lives and the lives of consumers, a few platforms are rising, whether it's your e-commerce platform, whether it's your food delivery platform, and the idea is you end up serving consumers directly as an organization. So we do that through B2B apps and B2C apps, or you become a provider of capabilities to others. So the idea of a platform bank is we build a set of capabilities, we take them to market ourselves, to the consumers, or we partner with other companies to take those to market. Yeah? So we do embedded finance, banking as a service, and our banking apps.
Excellent. And Wio has been a trailblazer when it comes to SMEs. I'm not sure how many of you have seen the numbers that Wio recently published, but you're up to about 60,000 SMEs that you currently serve today in less than 2 years.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a fantastic run. I think customers have been great. Yeah, trying a new bank is not always an easy decision, but we've been growing healthily. We get between 4,500 and 5,000 customers a month, new SMBs. To me, it's great, not just because the numbers meet the goals. I have some board members here who are always happy to hear those numbers. But I think it's an example of the amount of energy and enthusiasm there is in the UAE market. All this new business is coming here, setting up with all these dreams and ambitions, and it's just great to be the platform that helps them achieve some of this.
Absolutely. And I mean, I don't know how many of us here are actual customers or have friends and other entrepreneurial partners that are customers of Wio Bank, but I know it's absolutely one of the things that I hear consistently, how easy the onboarding is, how seamless the experience is, and frankly, how happy a lot of your customers are that you're here in the market and making their lives easier.
Yeah, it's been our core focus. One of the things we wanted to do was we want to make sure customers achieve more. Yeah, and we have the sayings inside the bank. Yeah, we're in the business of serving customers. It just happens to be in financial services. So I think making customers happy and making sure we are addressing their needs is core to us. We have a fantastic team that does this. I just get to sit here and talk about the good stuff. They do all the hard work. And we focused not just on the user experience, but the principles of the products we build. And the result is we've got very good net promoter scores. I think 4 out of 5 customers join us through referral, which is phenomenal for us. So we have some areas to improve on, but I think the strategy is working.
That's phenomenal. And again, most of us who've been in fast-growing businesses know it is actually a challenge to keep that speed of growth, but at the same time maintain a level of service and quality. Yeah. And it certainly sounds like you've managed to achieve both.
Yeah, I think it depends on the day. There are good days, there are good days. And I think there are days we can do better. But I think it's one of, when we started, we designed to scale up. Yeah, and that was a core focus. And one of the things we did is we simplified a lot of our products and our propositions with the idea that when we scale, we can serve our existing customers with a limited number of people or technologies. I think it's worked well. Though we do have an interesting problem. We grow faster than we thought, so we do continuously have to invest in operations and scaling. It's a good problem to have.
It
but
is.
nevertheless a problem.
It is. It is. And it sounds like what you're saying is from the get-go, right up the bat, you need to make sure you're designing to scale. Because if you don't, it's going to be very tough to catch up later on in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what we did, Saeeda? We partnered with some traditional companies, yeah, that have been there for a long time. We partnered with Fintechs, yeah. We used a lot of best practices and learning as we partnered with Visa, yeah, to get our products out quicker. And I think the idea was of our partnerships had the idea of scaling embedded in it, yeah, because if you don't build to scale, it's incredibly difficult to switch halfway through the journey. And once you lose the momentum, it's incredibly challenging to get it back.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're building fast, you're scaling fast, you're maintaining the quality. If I put on your board member's hat, what about profitability?
Yeah, so this is the exciting part. In our first full year of operations, we were profitable. Yeah, which I think is a fantastic achievement. I know of very few banks in the world that have done that. We closed 2023 as a profitable bank. We've had a fantastic start to 24. Again, I think a testament to a few things: a fantastic team, yeah, that is driving a lot of great work, but a robust economy, yeah, a growing market, and I think a consumer base that wants change. Yeah. So I think all three working very well. The great interest rates don't hurt also. So, so I think all the right ingredients.
Yes, indeed, indeed. Sometimes, there are tailwinds, and
Yeah.
then if you've set up for it, then you just
You have to take the luck when you get it.
Oh, absolutely. It's remarkable, though, profitable from the get-go.
Yeah,
It's,
that's an
very
exciting
rare.
milestone.
It's very rare. So I heard you talk about a lot of growth, a lot of profitability, a lot of scaling. I heard you mention team twice, at least, perhaps more. And for those of us who know you're always and forever talking about your team and bringing together the team. How have you as a leader evolved over the last few years in this role?
Yeah, it's a great question. I was on a podcast the other day, and I had a similar question. And I started reflecting on the journey. I think there's a few fundamental things that have changed. If I remember my consulting days, we used to get up at 7 in the morning, work till almost midnight, work half the weekends, yep. And that was the way things worked, yep. I think today we are in a very different economy. We have a very different set of colleagues. We have some of the colleagues who, like me, have seen a few years of experience, and we've got the younger, fresher colleagues. Yeah, and I think it requires a little bit of learning and a lot of change. So I think some of the things that at least I've learned. One, I think the new generation is incredibly bright. Yes, incredibly bright, incredibly creative. But I think some things have changed. One is you have to look at the operating model slightly different. Yeah. So there is the idea. So we have people from 42 countries who've joined us. So we've got talent, yeah, from all over the world who've come and joined us. They have great ideas. I think you need to give them the room, yeah, to build their ideas. I think you have to be guide rails, yeah, so that you bring in a little bit of local context and market viability. But they want the freedom to experiment and try new things. I think the second thing that has changed is the idea of longevity within an organization has fundamentally changed. I think they want to do cool stuff. They want to move up vertically faster or horizontally or totally into something new. Yeah? And I think as organizations and as leaders, you have to accept that and plan for it. Yeah? I think the traditional metrics don't work anymore. And I think lastly is decision-making has to be more democratized. Yeah? If your employees don't believe in the values of the proposition you take to your customer, it doesn't work. They want to believe in the proposition, they want to help take those decisions, and then they're willing to do incredible work on it. So as a leader, I think a lot of change. I learned a lot from them. Yeah, somebody just tried to use TikTok with me, and it was a great experiment. Yeah, so I learned a lot from them every day. But I think it's learning, it's changing every day.
It does change every day. And I know there's been a lot of research out there which shows that if you go back about 2 generations, not even that long, 2 to 3 generations, most people held the same job.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 jobs in their life, 2 employers their entire life, versus today where I think before we're in our 20s, many of us have had 2 employers. If we go down that route, because there's so many entrepreneurs who would like to do things differently. So 100%, it's a different world we live in. It's a different workforce. And we hear that. We hear that all the time. I remember hearing that 10 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, right? When we came in, I remember that. But fundamentally, it's not only that the workforce is changing, it's also the consumer base is changing with it, right? So unless we have folks that are in touch with that consumer base, we end up with the risk of being irrelevant. So couldn't agree with you more. Absolutely. Very cool. So one of the things about you and about the bank that is always top of mind is your focus. You have done an incredibly good job of really clearly defining that, we will go after this group, SMEs, and then going after them. And SMEs, as we know, are traditionally underbanked. Traditionally, they are the core of any economy. 99% of business is through SMEs in most economies. What made you decide to go after this group? Because it's not the easiest segment either, and many have tried before you.
Yeah.
So what made you go after this group, and what made you believe that you would be different and you would be able to crack this?
Yeah, I think, look, we had a long discussion on this. A few fundamental things. I think the SMEs are the backbone of any economy. Yeah, I think, like you said, the current propositions or the propositions that were there in the market then were underserving SMEs. I think if you look at the change in technology, we just talked about it. Everyone wants to become an entrepreneur. Yeah, I think there are many fundamental signals that the base of SMEs will continue to grow. What they do need is an enabler to help them. And in financial services, we want to be that enabler. So one, we saw a clear opportunity. This is a great market and it's growing. 2, we saw the fact that the propositions don't serve them well. And 3rd, one of the things I believe in is you have to do the hard things that give you long-term differentiation. Yeah? And we felt in this space we could do this. We could build something that was different and that would give us enough runway that we would capture the market share. So we met a lot of SMEs. We had a pool of 100 SMEs in our test base, worked with them to come up with a proposition. One thing we did, I think, better was we listened to what their problems were. And we quickly realized they just didn't want a transactional bank. Many of the entrepreneurs started because they're passionate about baking or something else. Yeah? And that's what they want to give their energy to. They really don't want to learn banking. And they really do not want to learn how to manage money. Yeah? They want it done better, but they don't want to do it themselves. So we built this platform which we wanted to become the operating system of their business. So you can do invoicing. Corporate tax is something brand new. We have Visa virtual cards. You can manage expenses very well. Yeah, you can save for rent and VAT, all the fun stuff. Yeah, so we built a platform that helps simplify the banking part of it, so they can focus on their business, and I think that has paid off very well for us.
Okay, very good. So it sounds like you very, very much kept consumers or your SME clients at the core of thinking through your value proposition.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we worked very closely with them, and I think we ended up with a product that was slightly different than what we had conceived initially, but I think works well for them.
And then how do you make sure that now that you have this product, you have this offering that is there, it's built on consumer feedback, how do you keep it current, regular, fresh, so that, it's not, it was relevant 6 months ago, 12 months ago, and it's done now?
it's one of the biggest challenges, but I'll come back to team. We have an incredibly passionate team, of incredibly smart people. And they're always wanting to do more than, very frankly, capacity we have. Yeah. So they're always engaging. They're looking at not just global trends, what works here, and we are refreshing. And I think sometimes if things aren't broken, you don't necessarily need to fix them. And one of the things we've realized is you don't need to build massive products to drive change. Minor tweaks can help you grow very well. So I think we are beginning to refine this art of smaller changes, but with bigger impacts rather than bigger changes with smaller impact.
That's a very interesting one, the good old 80-20 rule, right?
Yes.
It always comes back. Excellent. Jayesh, I do want to call out congratulations for being on top of the Forbes Middle East FinTech list this year. The bank has done an amazing job, and I know they've been right up there. How do you see this ever so dynamic industry evolving and changing as we go forward?
Yeah, look, we're very excited about the ranking on the Forbes, being top in the Middle East, which is, I think, such a phenomenal market, is amazing. I think this is a super exciting market. You just walk out there and you see the people and so many ideas. I think we have a lot of change. Yeah, we're just getting started. I think more and more companies from around the globe and locally are getting into the business. I think we have a very exciting way to go. At Wio, we have a ton of new stuff coming up, as always. We want to make sure consumers have the confidence to manage their money, and do it well, achieve more with their money. So I'm very optimistic. I'm very optimistic about the region. I think we've got an amazing 10 years of hypergrowth left in the region.
I think that's just the beginning, and many, many more.
Yeah.
One last question as we wrap up. One of the things I've often heard in conversation is, it's a really interesting name, Wio. Can you share with us a little, how did you come up with the name Wio?
So, we had a premonition that AI will become super important in the year 2024. Now what we did was, we were trying to figure out what to call our bank. And we didn't want the usual, the blah, 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 blah bank. Yeah? So we had a fantastic marketing agency who had this amazing algorithm. And you put in attributes of what you want people to feel when they hear your name. And so we put in those attributes, and the bot generated a bunch of names. And Wio was one of the names. Yep. So it has no meaning. But it seemed to hit all the sentiments we wanted when customers heard the name. And that's how we come up with the name.
Very cool. It's interesting. Maybe we'll all be using bots for naming stuff soon. Always a pleasure, Jayesh.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.